Welcome to another episode of Sports Perspective. I'm Hayden Grove.
And I'm Franz Ross. Hayden, I hope you enjoyed this second Ohio State bye week because there won't be another week off of Buckeye football until late November.
Franz, I think I'm in for the long haul, which will start with Ohio State's homecoming game this Saturday against Rutgers. On Monday, Coach Urban Meyer held his weekly press conference at the Woody Hayes Athletic Center to provide some updates regarding the final bye week and to take a look ahead to the Buckeyes' second Big Ten battle.
This is a little bit uncharted waters for myself to have this many bye weeks this early in the season, so we got to get ready to go.
Much to the relief of Urban Meyer, the Buckeye bye weeks have come and gone, bringing on a run of 7 straight games for Ohio State that will start this Saturday against a team that has definitely caught the head coach's notice.
And to see people storm the field, and it caught my eye, and I was watching the end of that thing, so our guys will really prepare for this game, I can tell you that.
With Rutgers coming to town, Meyer may have his eye on the Scarlet Knights, but he's certainly not the only one. Both coordinators have been studying the Scarlet Knights, and offensively, Tom Herman is working to prepare to face the Big Ten leader in sacks.
Their front four are very active. They don't blitz a ton on first and second down. I think somewhere in the range between 15 and 20%. And on third down, they try to really create confusion and havoc, and they've got a whole third down specialist type deal where they're going to run a bunch of different guys in on the field and line up in some crazy alignments and try to confuse you.
While the offense has put together prolific numbers so far this season, the Buckeyes seem to have identified a problem that they've been working to fix and will look to improve starting against Rutgers. Red zone offense.
It's not very good. No, it's not. It's for what we expect. It's not good. It's something that there's a couple of styles that teams are starting to play us, and it's not the players' fault. It's our fault.
We've set the bar pretty high, finishing first in the country, or I think second our first year and first last year in touchdown percentage in the red zone. So the bar has been set around here very high, and we expect to do that, and we need to do a better job of that.
On offense, we got to try to make sure that we're capitalizing in the red zone. We had a few times last week, I'm not sure, but I know the week before we had a few times where we got stalled in the end zone. And granted, we're putting up a lot of points, but at the same time, then there's little small things that we can do.
Defensive coordinator Chris Hash has faced this team before and says the task of preparing the Buckeye defense for a pro-style offense will be a different process thanks to some of the wacky looks they've seen from opposing offenses so far this season.
It's more of a pro-style system. A lot of what we call 21 personnel, 2 backs and a tight end. They'll give you some 22 personnel, 2 backs and 2 tight ends. It's a little unconventional, from what we've seen so far this year, but they do a nice job of mixing up their run game and play action passes off of it.
Rutgers senior quarterback Gary Nova was a big topic of discussion for Ash and for defensive back Tyvis Powell, who see a legitimate passing threat that they plan on attacking in any way they can.
There's a lot of things that he does well. He's done a nice job in the pocket. He's throwing the ball deep very well this year. He's avoided pressure very well this year. He's scrambled well this year. But there are some things on film that you think, hey, maybe this or that would maybe rattle him a little bit. And those are the things that we try to identify every week.
Oh, absolutely. I've seen him make some throws that I said, I can't believe he threw that, but he actually completed it. So I said, okay, he got a lot of faith in his arm.
If there was one positive takeaway from the bye week for Meyer, it was the fact that the Buckeyes were able to take a look at the national college football landscape and get a feeling for where they are as a team.
Good thing is if you have a bad team and guys that don't quite listen to you, then you have to create things. I'm going to talk to them like grown men and say, this is where we're at, this is what we have to do. You've had 3 days off, let's pick up and go, and I'm anticipating that they'll answer. That's why we're having a team meeting. I want to look them in the eyes and say, this is where we're at, what we need to have happen.
Kickoff for Saturday's game against the Scarlet Knights is set for 3:30 p.m. on ABC. Until then, for Lantern TV, I'm Hayden Grove.
With the Buckeyes on a bye last week, the Lantern sports editor Tim Moody took some time to talk to Ohio State men's basketball coach Thad Matta on an array of topics, from the 5 fresh faces the Buckeyes will feature on the floor next season to the team's summer trip to the Bahamas. I was able to take a camera to the chat to give you a look into what the Buckeyes may look like in about a month from today.
Well, I think that's one of the great things this summer the trip to the Bahamas did for us. I thought that was a great opportunity for our guys to get to know each other in terms of the practices the locker room time, the travel time, the time in the Bahamas, bus rides, that sort of thing. I think there was a pretty good blend. The other thing is, we spend so much time with these guys now in terms of we can work with them in the summer. So you bring them in with groups, you pair seniors with freshmen, just to get that understanding of who guys are and really what they're capable of doing on the court.
This year?
Well, I think this, he's a college graduate. And so I say that from the maturity level in terms of what we need him to bring to the table. It's an odd situation when you stop and analyze it in terms of, he's a senior coming in. He's only got one season to play. It's a little bit unique. We've never had that here. The good thing is Anthony's a great kid. He's a likable kid, and he wants the team to do well, and that's very evident in how he carries himself on a daily basis. But I think that, Anthony is a guy that plays with great energy. He has a sixth sense for finding the basketball, be it rebounding or cutting, whatever it is. So, from that position with his length, his athleticism, we're going to need him to elevate the energy down in the paint and hopefully be able to step out a little bit for us. I think that there will be a lot more classroom time teaching, but I'm not going to deviate how we practice, just in terms of we're going to practice at breakneck speed. It will be as intense for the length of time that we go. We have some standards here of how we practice, and I can't change that. The guys, as I tell them, you either get on the train or the train's going to run you over. And I thought coming out of Sunday's practice, a couple of the freshmen, talking to them afterwards, were like, I've never been through anything like that before in my life. And you try to warn them, you try to get them prepared, but they really don't know. But with that said, there would probably be a little bit more teaching in terms of breaking things down, showing them. But when we take the floor, there's an expectation of we're going full speed. Oh, geez. It is everything from shots made and misses you're graded on, makes or more than makes or more than misses, assist to turnover, offensive rebounds, post feeds, passes ahead to defensively, deflection, steals, rebounds, blockouts, protecting certain areas of the floor we want to protect, challenging shots. It's pretty extensive. It takes us a little while after practice to go through it.
Basketball may be well on its way to the floor of the Schottenstein Center, but there has already been action at the Schott on the ice. The Ohio State men's hockey team officially opened their 2014-2015 season this past weekend against Providence, and our reporter Evan Simkowitz was there to see the puck drop on a new campaign for the Buckeyes.
This weekend, the Buckeyes took to the ice for the first two games of the season versus the number 3 ranked Providence College Friars. The teams combined for a total of 12 goals in 2 games featuring overtime here at the Value City Arena. The Buckeye power play was tops in the Big Ten last year and entered the season with a bang, scoring 3 goals in the first game to lead the Buckeyes past the Friars by a score of 5-4. Here's what they said after the game.
The opportunities, they started pressuring and try to take away high a little bit there, and we want to just get pucks down to the net and then just outnumber them down low. And I think it happened, I think, on Fritzy's goal there. Again, puck to the net, we outnumbered him. He had a tap in backside there, and the last goal was just a really nice play.
Friday night, Providence College on the board first. Individual effort by Nick Sarancino finds the puck and puts it back in the net. Friars up 1-0. Off the ensuing face-off, Anthony Greco scores to tie it at 1. To the third period, Buckeyes down 4-3. Weiss receives it from Brevig, throws it to the net where Fritz puts it home, tied at 4. Overtime, power play. Greco loads up and scores the winner to give the Buckeyes a 4-3 victory. It was his first multi-goal game of his career, and here's what he said after the game.
Well, I think I always had it in me. It just needed to let it come out, but it was exciting to get off to a good start like that.
He's fun to play with. He's probably one of the fastest guys in college hockey, so it's just trying to keep up to him. So, it's a lot of fun.
To Saturday night, scoreless third. Logan Day roofs one to put the Friars on the board 1-0.
42 seconds later, Luke Stork receives it from Jones to tie it at 1 for the Buckeyes. For the second consecutive night, it's overtime. Brian Pino uses the screen. Friars win 2-1.
I think actually our penalty kill, set the tone for the rest of the game in the second period. They had 7 minutes of power play time in the second. We actually outshot them in the second period. So, we got some momentum from that. It's just I thought our guys played hard, and they gave ourselves a chance to win another hockey game against a very good opponent.
The Blue, I don't think you're going to see them try and dipsy-doodle around you too much. That being said, the other D-man, if he can read that, get to the pucks first, and then we were trying to, move pucks up right away. For the most part, it was working out for us. So.
Despite the disappointing loss on Saturday night, the Buckeyes took a 3 out of a possible 4 points against the Providence College Friars. The Buckeyes will look to continue that success next weekend with a home-and-home series against the in-state rival Miami University Redhawks. Puck drops in Game 1 of that series Friday night here at the Schottenstein at 7:05. For Lantern TV, I'm Evan Simkowitz.
Once again, we're in for a big week in Ohio State athletics as more sports are starting to kick it into high gear. On Friday, field hockey and volleyball will head to Bloomington to take on the Indiana Hoosiers in their respective sports. Women's ice hockey will face off against the Bemidji State from here in Columbus, and the men's hockey team has a big matchup against the Miami University Redhawks at the Schottenstein Center. On Saturday, men's soccer heads to Madison for a battle with the Wisconsin Badgers. Both the men's and women's hockey teams face Miami University and Bemidji State again as part of a 2-game weekend set, and women's volleyball continues their tour of the Hoosier State as they head to Purdue to play the Boilermakers. Finally, on Sunday, women's soccer heads to Ann Arbor for the footy version of the game against the Wolverines, and field hockey hosts the Iowa Hawkeyes right here in Columbus.
All right, Franz, we're about halfway through the semester of Sports Perspective, and halfway through the football season. What do you see from the Buckeyes in the second half?
Well, I think the Buckeyes have a very winnable schedule coming up, with the exception of one game, and that's the November 8th primetime matchup in East Lansing against Michigan State. Michigan State ended Urban Meyer's 24-0 win streak at the Big Ten Championship last year, and I think that this game is going to determine who gets in from the East Side into the Big Ten Championship. So it turns that November 8th matchup into a one-game season for both squads.
I think you're right. I think it is a one-game season, especially for the Buckeyes. But I think you might be giving Michigan State a little too much credit. They played Purdue, and Purdue played them pretty well this past week, so we'll see what happens come November. But until then, that's going to do it for this episode of Sports Perspective. Be sure to tune in next week as we give you the Rutgers recap, and we take you through an NBA exhibition game featuring LeBron James and the Cleveland Cavaliers at the Schottenstein Center. I don't know about you, Franz, but I'm looking forward to that one.
No, I can't wait to see the big three of Cleveland face off here in Columbus. It's going to be great.
All right, well, that's going to do it. We'll see you next week. Until then, for the Lantern TV staff and for Franz Ross, I'm Hayden Grove.